Hello, and welcome to the Minnesota Department of Health training on COVID-19 vaccine. This presentation was facilitated in October 2022 by Lynn Vada, an immunization clinical consultant with the Minnesota Department of Health. Next. We'll be starting today with expectations for what this training will cover and how it will prepare you to share important information on COVID-19 vaccines. Next. This training provides basic information about COVID-19 vaccines. You might have to review these slides a few times before you feel comfortable presenting it, and that's okay. In fact, that's expected. Our goal in sharing this information with you is to get accurate general information to the community through trusted messengers such as yourselves, so they can make the best decisions about getting vaccines for themselves and their families. Our goal is also to aid community members so they can have access to COVID-19 vaccines. Next. This does not train you to provide in-depth information about vaccines. If you can, you may want to include a community-based medical expert familiar with COVID-19 and its vaccines. There are Minnesota Department of Health vaccine experts available to provide backup support if you would like that additional support. Scheduling a session specifically to answer complex questions can also be a helpful add-on to this presentation. And the role of these vaccine experts is to be available to answer complex questions and be a background participant. Next. Responding to participants' questions and concerns, here are a few tips. It's okay to say, I don't know, but I can talk to one of the experts at Minnesota Department of Health and find out the answers for you. It's also important to keep in mind that people have many different reasons for not being vaccinated. It doesn't mean they are anti-vaccine. Next. Some people like to express concerns in an excited way or may state something that isn't true. We encourage you in these situations to stay calm, acknowledge people's concerns with statements such as, I understand, or by saying, that claim has been circulating a lot, or this sounds like something that's an important concern to you. It's helpful to not argue, but instead thank your audience members for their questions and then provide resources for answers and move on. Next. Minnesota Department of Health has many resources that provide basic, accurate information on COVID-19 vaccines. Some of them are listed here. We encourage you as a trainer or facilitator of this conversation to share those resources as part of your presentation. Next. A facilitator script is included with these slides. This slide that you see now is the start of the slide deck we've created for you and others to use in your community. So let's get started. Thank you again for joining us today. I know everyone is very anxious to have the latest information about COVID-19 vaccine and to answer questions and concerns that people might have. We hope this presentation will help prepare you to share accurate and reassuring information to others in your community. Next. The goal of today's presentation is to provide an update about the COVID-19 vaccine, but also to address concerns and questions people may have about the vaccines. Some questions that have been popping up include concerns about how the vaccine works and how vaccines are made. Many also wonder how safe the vaccine is and how well it prevents COVID-19. Today, we will discuss a few of these concerns, and we will share some resources that may be helpful in answering other vaccine-related questions. As we review some of the information, keep this in mind and let us know if you have other questions. Next. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life. And some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We are standing on the ancestral homes of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Dakota, the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also called this place home. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. Please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events. Next. The state of Minnesota and the Department of Health recognize that there is trauma and medical abuse that happens to our Black, Indigenous, people of color, disability, and LGBTQ+ communities, some of which the state has played a role in, leading to distrust in medicine and public health. The Minnesota Department of Health, local public health, medical providers, and other partners are actively working on rebuilding trust with these communities and looking for ways to bring community members' voices to the table. Next. Where do we go from here? Our diverse communities are a long way from being healed. For those of you that bear the weight and impact of these traumas, thank you for your presence and strength today, and please feel free to share your stories if you feel comfortable doing so. For others looking to be an ally, recognize the trauma that has occurred and lean into showing understanding and compassion. There are many reasons why people experience hesitancy, including discrimination, violence, and injustice. As we go through this presentation today, I encourage you to view vaccine concerns and questions that come up from a perspective that takes into consideration centuries of injustice. And for those of us with a foot in public health, let us remember to continue to be as transparent as possible and share information openly with communities. We must always work to seek community input on our processes and to build trust so that community members view public health as a good source of information when they are making decisions about vaccinations. Next. Now that there's been time to do some grounding in the larger picture and acknowledgements, let's move on to some vaccine basics. Next. Vaccines are made to train our bodies to fight against certain diseases. Most of the time, the vaccine keeps us from getting sick from pretty serious diseases. The COVID-19 vaccine was made to do the same. We have seen that even if you are vaccinated, you can still get COVID-19 and spread it to others. No vaccine is 100% effective. While it doesn't prevent every case, it does a very good job at protecting us from ending up in the hospital or dying from COVID. The mRNA vaccine does not contain a virus, does not create the virus, and cannot cause COVID-19 infection. Next. There are currently 4 vaccine products that the Federal Drug Administration has authorized for use: the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna vaccine, Johnson & Johnson or Janssen vaccine, and the Novavax vaccine. Of these 4, 2 products are now licensed by the FDA, the Pfizer and Moderna products. These vaccine makers were able to provide long-term data in order to get an FDA license. Authorization is used in pandemic disasters like COVID-19 in order to get a remedy out to all of us as quickly as possible and to make sure it is safe. This slide shows the conditions of use for which the vaccines were authorized. Those conditions include who can receive it, the number of doses, and the intervals for administering the vaccine. Next, let's review a little bit about each technology that is used for these vaccines. Next. So how does the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine specifically work? The two mRNA COVID-19 vaccines do not contain any live germs. They use messenger RNA, and we call it mRNA vaccine. The mRNA in the vaccine contains information that gives a body instructions to recognize and fight the germ that causes COVID-19. The mRNA tells a person's cell to recreate a certain protein that is part of the COVID-19 virus. The person's body then uses the copy of the protein to start building up defenses. So when it encounters the real COVID-19 virus, it is prepared to defend the body right away, and there is no delay. The defenses produced are called antibodies. They protect a person from getting the disease. The mRNA vaccine does not contain a virus, does not create the virus, and cannot cause COVID-19 infection. Next. How is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine different from the mRNA vaccines? The Johnson & Johnson vaccine uses a different weakened virus to carry the instructions, called DNA, to the body to tell it how to recognize and fight COVID-19. The common virus has been weakened, so it cannot give anyone getting the shot the disease. The body uses the instructions to make a certain part of the COVID-19 virus. The body then uses the copy of the protein to teach the body to fight against COVID-19. The next time it enters the real COVID-19 virus, the body uses a copy of the protein to teach the body to fight against COVID-19. The next time it encounters the real COVID-19 virus, it is prepared to defend the body right away, and there is no delay. The defenses produced are called antibodies, and they protect a person against getting the disease. There is no live COVID-19 virus. You cannot get COVID-19 from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Next. How did the COVID-19 Novavax vaccine work? This vaccine uses a more traditional approach for making a vaccine. It uses an inactive virus protein to teach your body to fight against it. This is different from how the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines are made. Protein vaccines have been used for more than 30 years in the United States, beginning with the first licensed hepatitis B vaccine. Other protein subunit vaccines used in the United States today include those to protect against influenza and whooping cough, also known as pertussis. The vaccine cannot make you sick with COVID-19 vaccine because it does not include the virus, only one protein. Next. The COVID-19 vaccines available right now do not contain eggs, pork products, gelatin, laxatives, or preservatives. On this slide, you see the basic vaccine ingredients, which include lipids, weakened common virus, sugars, buffers, adjuvant. Some other basic ingredients include the genetic material, fats, and sugars to help stabilize the vaccine. Next. Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about the safety of COVID-19 vaccines and how well they work. Next. When public health officials realized that COVID-19 was becoming a global disaster, they gathered with vaccine scientists, vaccine companies, and public health officials to start making a vaccine. In the US, the goal was to make a vaccine that was safe and that worked as soon as they could, while still following all the safety steps. Next. The first COVID-19 vaccines came out within a year of the COVID-19 virus being discovered. There are many questions about how a vaccine could be created so quickly. No steps were skipped in the making of the COVID-19 vaccines. These are the steps used to test, make, and approve any vaccine. None were skipped for the COVID-19 vaccine. Money from the federal government and partnerships helped the process go much faster than usual. The Food and Drug Administration made each vaccine manufacturer prove that its COVID-19 vaccine was safe and that it worked, just as they would for any other vaccine. Future COVID-19 vaccines will need to go through all these same steps before they can be approved to be used in the general population. Next. And these public health officials wanted to make sure the vaccine worked in all our various populations in the United States. The vaccine manufacturers heard that and tried to include study participants that reflect the diversity of the population, including race, ethnicity, various ages, and health conditions. Many Latinx, Black, Asian, and American Indian individuals participated in the clinical studies. Next. We know that all the COVID-19 vaccines work at protecting people from getting COVID-19 most of the time, that is 60 to 80% of the time. This is great news. Because we had that variety of people from different races, ethnicities, ages, health conditions participate in the studies, we know that the vaccine works equally in everyone. The vaccines are very good at protecting against severe disease, which means people don't have to go to the hospital and are much less likely to die from COVID-19. The vaccines work even against the Delta variant. For people who already had COVID-19, the vaccine will give them more protection against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines are not as effective against preventing the spread of the virus. This is because so few people remain unvaccinated and the virus continues to mutate. Next. Some reminders about the COVID-19 vaccines. mRNA vaccines can only deliver instructions. They cannot do anything else like change your DNA. The only thing that is tracked is a record of your vaccination. Pregnant people that have been vaccinated have healthy babies. People who wanted to get pregnant have done so after getting the COVID-19 vaccine. And there is no virus in the vaccine. A person who gets COVID-19 when exposed to a person who is infected with COVID-19. Next. Let's talk now about what to expect when somebody gets vaccinated. Next. COVID-19 vaccines are provided to people free of charge. A person may be asked for their insurance information because healthcare providers can charge for giving the vaccine to someone. However, anyone can still get the COVID-19 vaccine if they do not have insurance or cannot pay the administration fee. No one should receive a bill for the vaccine or be charged an administrative fee. If you get a bill, call your clinic and let them know you should not have to pay. Also, no one will be asked about the immigration or citizenship status during a vaccination. Everyone is recommended to get COVID-19 vaccine when it is available to them, even if they have had COVID-19 disease before. It is okay to change your mind. Like I mentioned before, 2 doses or shots are needed for the COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna. 3 doses of Pfizer are needed for children 6 months to 4 years. The time between doses depends on the vaccine someone is receiving. Moderna vaccines are only fully effective with both doses of vaccine. We recommend that someone schedules their second dose appointment when they get their first dose, if possible. Only 1 dose of vaccine is needed for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It still takes about 2 weeks after the shot for the body to build up full protection. At the clinic, you should be given a fact sheet called the Emergency Use Authorization Fact Sheet from the federal government. You might be asked to sign a form saying that you read the fact sheet or had it explained to you. The person giving you the vaccination will ask if you have any allergies or if you have had any reactions to vaccines before. Next. Now, let's talk about what happens after someone gets their COVID-19 vaccination. Some side effects are common after vaccination. After getting COVID-19 vaccine, the person will probably have a sore arm and might have sore muscle aches, tiredness, headache, or perhaps a fever. These side effects usually last from 1 to 2 days. If your symptoms don't go away or get worse, you may have COVID-19. Get tested if you think you may have COVID-19. Some side effects are the result of the body responding to the vaccine. And it's okay if someone doesn't have any side effects at all. The vaccine is still working and doing its job. Next. Side effects can be uncomfortable. Here are some tips for managing the discomfort of vaccine side effects. Take pain relievers, use cool cloths where you got your shot, and move or exercise your arm around. It is not recommended to take pain relievers before your vaccine or if you do not have side effects afterwards. Next. Here are more details on some very rare but serious adverse effects with COVID-19 vaccines. A serious adverse effect is something that is life-threatening. If someone has a severe reaction after they leave the place where they receive the vaccination, they should contact their healthcare provider, call 911, or go to the nearest hospital. Some of these serious adverse effects include blood clotting issues. This is a risk but a rare condition in people after receiving the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. Again, this risk is very low. Most people who developed this blood clotting issue were adult women younger than 50 years old. For women 50 years and older and men of all ages, this adverse event is even more rare. This condition is treatable. For 3 weeks after receiving the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine, contact your healthcare provider or go to the hospital if you notice any of these symptoms. Shortness of breath, chest pain, leg swelling, abdominal or stomach pain that doesn't go away, severe headaches that don't go away, blurred vision, easy bruising. Anaphylaxis is another adverse event. Some people also have severe allergic reactions to the COVID-19 vaccine. The Department of Health is aware of this and has talked to vaccinators and clinics about it. Clinics are prepared to respond quickly with the right medicine. The person getting the COVID-19 vaccine will be asked to wait 15 to 30 minutes after they've been vaccinated so that clinic staff can observe them. This will likely take place in a spot that allows for social distancing. Inflammation around the heart is another adverse event. Some people who have received the Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 vaccines have had rare cases of myocarditis or inflammation around the heart. In most cases, symptoms began a few days after the second dose of COVID-19 vaccine and went away quickly. Most of these cases have been in young men. The chance of this occurring is very low. If it does happen, seek medical attention right away if you have any of these symptoms after receiving COVID-19 vaccine. Chest pain, shortness of breath, feelings of having a fast beating, fluttering, or pounding heart. Finally, nervous system weakness or Guillain-Barré syndrome. A few people who have received the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine have experienced Guillain-Barré syndrome, or GBS. GBS is a rare disorder where the body's immune system damages nerve cells, causing muscle weakness and sometimes paralysis. Most people fully recover from GBS, but some have permanent nerve damage. The benefits of vaccination outweigh the slight risk of this side effect, and the chance of having this occur is very rare. Seek medical attention right away if any of the following symptoms are apparent after receiving the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Weakness or tingling sensations, especially in the arms or legs, having a hard time walking, a hard time with moving your face, including speaking, chewing, or swallowing, double vision or not being able to move your eyes, difficulty with bladder control or bowel function. Next. If something serious does happen after vaccination, there are several options. Have the vaccinator or the healthcare provider who provided the vaccine report to what's known as a Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. And there's a link to that reporting site on this slide. Many people can be compensated for their adverse event through a program called the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. There's also a link to that site on this slide. Next. The CDC now recommends that people with certain immunocompromising conditions that receive the mRNA vaccine get an additional dose of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. We have clear data to show that people who are moderately to severely immunocompromised may not develop a good response from 2 doses of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. An additional dose may improve protection. There's currently not enough data to recommend that people who receive the Johnson & Johnson or Novavax vaccine should receive an additional dose at this time. People should talk to their healthcare provider about their medical condition and whether getting an additional dose is appropriate for them. Next. We know that original protection from vaccines decreases over time. Booster shots are recommended for everybody. Many routine vaccines, in fact, require booster shots to maintain protection. For example, people are due to get a tetanus shot every 10 years. That shot is a booster shot. It protects your ability to fight the disease if you are exposed, because we know original protection from the vaccine decreases over time. People who have received their initial vaccine series, that is, 2 doses of Pfizer, Moderna, or Novavax vaccine, or 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson vaccine, they still have some protection even once their protection starts to decrease. The booster shot helps get protection back up to a higher level. As we learn more about COVID-19 vaccine, and as we continue to track how the vaccines are working, we will continue to follow the science and update recommendations that will best protect people from the disease. Next. The booster available for COVID-19 is a bivalent vaccine. That means there are 2 parts of the vaccine that will help the body fight the COVID-19 virus. The bivalent COVID-19 booster vaccine includes both the original strain and an Omicron strain. The objective for adding the Omicron strain is to improve protection against COVID-19. Next. Because the formulation of the bivalent vaccine is different, it should only be used for booster doses. The bivalent vaccine builds on the immunity developed by the primary series. There will still be a single valent, called a monovalent vaccine, for people who need to start their initial COVID-19 vaccination series. And until a bivalent vaccine is ready for young children, they will continue to receive the monovalent vaccine as a booster. It is important for people to stick to the interval by waiting at least 2 months from the last COVID-19 vaccine dose before getting their vaccine bivalent booster. It will work better and help the protection last longer. People who have recently gotten COVID-19 can wait at least 3 months to get the bivalent booster. They can wait because their illness protected them with a boost. Next. At this time, the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines are the only COVID-19 vaccines that have been studied and authorized for use by people ages 6 months and older. Novavax is authorized for people ages 12 and older. Johnson & Johnson is not available for use with people under 18 years of age. The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children 6 months through 4 years old is a 3-series dose. The second Pfizer dose should be given at least 3 weeks after the first. The third dose is to be administered at least 8 weeks after that. The Moderna COVID-19 vaccine for children 6 months through 5 years is a 2-dose series. The second dose is given at least 4 weeks after the first. Children ages 5 to 11 should get the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds, since it is a smaller dose of vaccine than the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine for people ages 12 and older. Data from Pfizer and Moderna vaccine studies show the vaccine is safe and effective for children. After receiving COVID-19 vaccine, children have similar side effects similar to those that happen after other non-COVID-19 vaccinations. Children who receive the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine for 5 to 17-year-olds are also recommended to get a booster 2 months after they've completed their primary series. Minnesota has more than 1,100 providers who are able to give COVID-19 vaccines to children and teens. This includes pediatricians, pharmacies, state-run community clinics, schools, local public health agencies, tribal health agencies, and others. The large network of providers will help parents meet parents and families where they are and allow vaccine to be provided quickly and equitably. Next. Now that you know more about the COVID-19 vaccines, we'll talk next about how to find a vaccine. Next. There are many places to get vaccinated, such as large retail pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, others. There are state-sponsored community vaccination sites, local community pharmacies and clinics, public health sites, and primary care clinics as well. All 3 vaccines are being distributed broadly to all communities, so not one community will receive a single vaccine brand. The Minnesota Department of Health has set up an interactive map to help people find a COVID-19 vaccine that's updated on a regular basis. We include a link to that website in the script of this slide. Next. As we come to the end of our vaccine discussion today, this slide highlights key takeaway points to remember about the vaccines. First and foremost, the vaccine is safe. We are still learning more about the vaccine, but the Centers for Disease Control and Food and Drug Administration continue to monitor COVID-19 vaccines for safety and how well they work. Second, the vaccine works. We know that the vaccine helps reduce the impact of severe disease and limits hospitalizations. Getting the vaccine is free, regardless of whether you have health insurance or of your immigration status. And last but not least, we want to recognize that there are a lot of feelings about vaccines out there, and those feelings are valid. Some people may need more time to make their vaccination decision. Choosing not to vaccinate means risking COVID-19 vaccine and possible complications. And trauma and injustices are just a couple of reasons why people may have questions or concerns about vaccines. This presentation does not solve any of these issues or override any lived experiences and feelings, but hopefully it's a helpful tool to start addressing concerns and questions and rebuild trust when engaging with the community. Next, thank you for your time and attention today. I want to acknowledge that for some of you, it might have been hard to sit through. This isn't always an easy issue to talk about. I presented a lot of facts and information about vaccines. I hope that these facts might be helpful towards any feelings of concerns you have about vaccines. I know this presentation is just the start for some of you. I hope you can take something away from today to help make a decision for yourself about the COVID-19 vaccine. And briefly, before we close, I want to acknowledge additional information we encourage you to share with your audiences when you use this presentation. Next. There are several additional slides that have information for specific communities intended to address their concerns, questions, and considerations. As a facilitator, you can review and use the slides specific to your community to help frame and inform your presentation. Or you might find it helpful to pull concerns from several of these slides to help your audience understand why there are concerns and hesitancy around vaccines. We'll click through these additional slides quickly, but I'll end now by thanking you again for your interest in sharing this critical information with your community. Next. And next. 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 And that's all.